Hello, happy Sunday. This is Kwame Wuku, founder of Cagletics. I'm the creator of the IBM Cognos Data Analytics online training card. I'm the creator of the IBM Cognos Data Analytics online training course. So in this video, we are going to preview or watch the Crosstab basics video from my course. I think what I'm going to do is to probably do the lifestyle sort of mentor type videos 3 days a week, and then the 2 days I show you a video from the course because I have a ton of videos from my course. So today we are going to be watching the Crosstab. Is only 25 minutes, and this time I'm going to play it full screen. Okay, so leave a comment, add a like, and if you have any questions, let me know. Usually I step away from the computer for a while, but I'll come back and answer any questions. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, the basic essentially is a crosstab because we.
Don't screw this one up, Kwame.
So hello and welcome to this chapter. This chapter is all about crosstabs. What you are seeing is what I'm calling a basic crosstab, but I'll say it is relatively between medium and advanced because we are doing a lot here as you can see on the screen. Now, learning how to use crosstabs is in my top 5 in terms of being a Cognos Jedi. You have to master list reports, you have to master the bar chart, you have to master crosstabs, and you have to master the repeater. I've not decided yet what the fifth one is because it's a toss-up between, the token and dashboarding, right? But the crosstab, you have to be very comfortable using crosstabs, and you just have to know some techniques so that it takes you a fraction of the time that it takes the average Cognos developer. So you see that I'm on the basic tab. I'm going to be using a single report to create both the basic and the advanced crosstab. So you see that this is the advanced version where I'm doing a lot more than the basic. But yeah, the basic essentially is a crosstab because we are looking at these metrics. You see, we are looking at these metrics, service request days to resolution, percentage of total days to resolution. You are seeing that I'm looking at it from the context of quarter. I'm also looking at it from the context of weather condition and on-time status. So on time and overdue. And I have all these totals, all these averages. I can scroll all the way to the bottom to see the total, right? I can see the total and the averages for each quarter, and I can see the total and the averages for the weather conditions in the context of on time and overdue. So there are many ways of creating a crosstab. I have some tips and techniques that I'm going to teach you so that it is not so intimidating because when you start nesting metrics, some of the calculations are not going to be so intuitive. You have to either write some special code or you have to implement a technique that I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's begin with the basic crosstab. So to begin, let's go over to the report, and I'm going to click the plus button. I'm going to select report. I'm going to select one column, theme school gray. Very good. Let's select a data source. And I'm going to go to my data modules. Let's go over to the master report, and I'm going to copy the header. And I'm going to paste it in the new report. And I'm going to delete the old title. Okay, so to begin, plus button here, let's select the crosstab, and let's give the crosstab query a name. I'm going to call it main. Okay, so now let's start filling up the crosstab. So you see that here I first started with the weather condition, and then I pulled in the on-time status, and at the top I have the quarters, and then I have the service request and days to resolution, plus I created a calculation on the spot. So this is how this is essentially the framework of the crosstab, right? You can decide to put metrics at the top, or you can even put the metrics in the rows if you wish. Now, there's another way of creating a crosstab where you first create the list and then you pivot it into a crosstab. Okay, that is also a very, very smart way of creating your crosstabs, because if you try to sometimes create the totaling and you start to add totals and averages, it can get a bit overwhelming and you might run into some errors. So sometimes I create my crosstabs. I will first start with a list, add all my totals and my averages, and then I pivot it to a crosstab. So we'll see a very simple example once we complete building the official crosstab using the, I guess, the accepted strategy. Okay, so weather condition, let's drag the weather condition here into the rows. And I'm going to nest it with the on time status. So to nest it, I'm going to place it right here. You see, so it is nested. And for the tab, I'm going to first bring in my quarters. So open quarter at the top. All right. Now I could potentially, let's go over to the page preview. At this point, I don't have any measures. So it is showing me my weather condition and it is showing me my on time status. And let's do something. Let's clean this up a little bit. Let's select the whole crosstab and let's make it 10,000 rows so that it does not go to the next page. All right. And let's add some headers. Go to the toolbar and let's add some headers, because it is going to be difficult for people to tell what this is. Okay, what is this? They see that it looks like weather conditions, but they really don't know what it is. So I'm going to pull a crosstab space and I'm going to nest it here. Okay, and I'm going to pull another crosstab space and I'm going to nest it right here. That is how you get two crosstab spaces at a time. Now I'm going to highlight the header. I'm going to go over to the text and I'm going to type out weather condition. Let me capitalize the second letter. Okay, let's leave it the way it is now. And then for the other crosstab, I'm going to type on time status. Okay, so this looks rather polite now. All right. Now let's do the same for the quarters. Let's do the same for the quarters. Let's drag a crosstab space to the top and let's call it quarters. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to, because it is easy to read, but at times your customers might demand that you do this. So let's center it. Now, if I only wanted to show one measure, if I only wanted to show one metric, I can go over to the source and bring in our single metric, and I can either place it here or over here. If I put it in the corner, it puts all the numbers for each of the different attributes. Okay, so this is the Q1 on time service request, you know, the 2793. Let's actually make it bigger. I'm going to select the cross tab and I'm going to make this bigger. Let's make it 12 point and hit OK. Okay, so you see that it is showing as such. It is showing that 2793 is the number for on-time status for scattered clouds in Q1. Okay, so let's undo that, because we are not going to be using one measure. We are going to be using multiple measures. So in fact, let me undo this. I guess we'll do the size after this. Let's remove the service request. Let's make the crosstab big. I don't want to skip any steps so that I don't confuse you. Let's make the crosstab big again. And let's go over to the design mode so that you see this is the framework, this is the structure. So here you could actually start centering the quarter. Maybe you can center this as well if you wish, but not so fast. Let's go over and start bringing some of the metrics. So remember that we are going to bring multiple metrics and we are going to nest it under open quarter. Days to resolution, let's nest it right next to it. Okay, Cognos is going to fight with you a little bit, but be gentle. Oops. When you see it blinking, then you release it. You see, now we have two of them. See, we have two of them. Now you can also create calculations here. So I'm going to create a percentage of total calculation here, where I select the calculation icon, you see, for creating your calculation, right? So we are going to insert where I say percent of total days to resolution, all right? So you see that it pulls it in and it gives its own special formatting. I'm going to keep that formatting the way it is because I want it to stick out a little bit. Okay, so here you have it. You see that when you select the box, it tells you that is the crosstab intersection. You see this is the also crosstab intersection, but crosstab space. And then this is the crosstab node member, and so on and so forth. So just be comfortable with what each of these are, because you are going to be sorting. You're going to be sorting each of these different nodes if you have to. Okay, so this looks good. Let's go over and look at it in the page preview. All right, so very quickly you see that our numbers look really good, and we are going to add some totals. But before we do that, let's add some formatting. Let's remove any decimal places. Let's make a number. Let's remove any decimal places, and also for missing values, characters or missing characters, let's put a 0 because I don't want to see any of the holes. Okay, so this looks good. The percentages, I'm going to keep it with a percentage. I think that is fine. And yeah, right now we have a nice little, nice looking crosstab already. So how do we add totals? It's a bit, okay, first let's sort the condition. You see, let's sort the condition, select the row, go to the sort and sort ascending. All right, that looks good. We don't have to sort the quarter because it has already been sorted. Okay, so what am I going to do first? Now, one thing that is a bit counterintuitive is that when you want to total quarter, if you wanted to see the totals for service request, you actually total from the rows. It's a bit counterintuitive. If you want to see the total for Claire, meaning you want to see it all the way across, then you are going to total from the rows. Okay, so first we are going to start by totaling the service request, which is the columns. We are going to total these guys. Okay, to do that, first you have to decide what you want to total. You see, we are going to first do a total, and then we are going to do an average as well. So let me go back to the page preview so that I see what I am doing. Okay, so this looks good. Let's go to preview, and first I want to total the on-time status. So with the rows selected, I want to total for service request and days to resolution and the percentage. I go over to the summary and I click total, and you see that it creates this beautiful line, and you know, it's already added some nice formatting, which I really like. You see, but you see that the decimal places are back. You see, even though the master, we've removed it, the decimal places, you know, come back. But not a big deal. You know how to do this by now. Let's copy the data format and let's just paste it here. Okay. Now let's total for the weather condition as well. So we are going to total weather condition for these guys. I'm going to total it. Okay, so when I total it, it gives the overall total at the bottom. So this 68,971 that you see is the total of service request coming down, right? It is not the total of the rows. Even though you press the rows to create the totals, it is actually totaling downward. So if we total the percentages, it is indeed 47.76. Okay, that looks good, right? That looks pretty good. So let's do an average as well. I want to do an average. So I'm going to do an average, and I want to do the average for weather condition only. So it's bringing my weather condition as well. Let's go ahead and format these guys. Let's format these as well. These as well. And our crosstab is looking really nice. Okay, so what about the totals for the weather condition? If I want to get the totals for the weather condition, it's not as easy as going total, because when you total, Cagnos, for some reason, does not understand that you want the total for service request, days to resolution, and percentage. But this is what I do. I have my total here, right? In fact, let's go and do the average as well. Let's add the average, and it's going to put another average here. You see that it is blank. all I do is I go over to the main and I select the service request. I drag it under average, and it's going to give me the averages. Okay, so it's giving me the average, and I can also drag it under total, and it's going to give me the total as well. So when we close this, you see that if you were to add these guys 15, 10, 19, 16, it will give you 62. Okay, does that make sense? This is 62 service requests were on time in the context of clear. All right, and it gives the total as well here. So you see how we didn't have to write any code, but if you go without writing any complex code, we've been able to add these totals. So let's apply the formatting here as well. And I don't see any formatting for the total. Okay, I see some at the bottom. Paste it as well. Okay, now the formatting, let's add it here as well. You see the zeros, I didn't apply the zeros here because I don't have the formatting from the days to resolution. But now that I applied the days to resolution formatting to service request, now it's showing the zeros. Okay, so this looks good. This looks good so far. Let's add the days to resolution as well. So I drag the days to resolution and I nest it under average but next to the service request, and I have my average days to resolution, meaning when I add up all of these values, it should give me an average of this number. Now, if I want to do the total, I'm going to drag the days to resolution and I'm going to drag it under this total as well. And if we add our formats, let's add it to this guy as well. Now you have a very beautiful looking crosstab, cleanly formatted and ready to go. All right. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you. Let's add a little bit of finesse. I think I'm going to keep this formatting because I applied some different formatting. You can actually apply table style. You can go and apply table style, but I like this. I like how this looks. All I'm going to do now is to bold these guys so that they stand out. So, you know, Arial Black is a good one. It's a very tasteful one. I like my Arial Blacks. Beautiful. Now you see that it sticks out and you have a very beautiful crosstab. And let's go and bring the percentage. Remember percentage days to resolution? Let's add that as well to the averages so that it is complete. Let's drag it over and get a total. Okay, and let's go and format this as a percentage with 1 decimal place. Let's go with 2 decimal places so that it looks like it's master. Very good. And all we are going to do is copy the data format, highlight it here, and push it. Very nice. Are we missing something here? Yes, let's add it to the totals as well. It's a lot of formatting you have to go through because there are a lot of data points. Let's add it to this guy as well. Push it. And I bet we have to do something for the totals. Let's add that as well. And we have a very clean crosstab in a very short period of time. Let's add it to the bottom row as well. We expect to get 100, and yep, we have 100% because it is totaling across. You see, it's totaling this way. So if you add up all these percentages across, you are going to get 100. Let's push that as well. You're going to get 100. So what you see here is for the totals for these guys. All right, just make a mental note of this. I'm going to save this as the basic, and I think you should save yours as well. In fact, I like this better than the one that I was planning to demo. So I might overwrite it. So let's go to reports, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to look for the basic, advanced crosstab, and I'm going to call this replace. Replace later. I don't want to overwrite it yet. All right, so let's run this. You can definitely apply your prompts and your filters later on, in case you wanted to be able to filter by year, because now you have your quarters. I think it would be a good idea for us to make this quarters big as well so that it is consistent. But yes, there you have it, a pretty nice crosstab with a lot of information, a lot of data points, and let's add a little bit of bonus. So what if days to resolution? No, service request. I want to show all service requests greater than 16,000. I want to make it red. Okay, so this is just a bonus. If you haven't seen the conditional styles yet, well, here's a quick bonus. If you quickly want to see a different color for anything greater than 16,000, go to conditional style, and we are going to put an easy condition based on the service request. You see, I just press the plus button. We are going to click the plus button and we are going to enter the value 16,000. And I can very easily just pick poor, and it will color the whole background and make it white. You see, it's showing us that this is what it's going to look like. So Cardinals has custom built a few of these that you can use. Maybe I want to make it, if I wanted to make it green and white, I could do it as such, right? So anything greater than 16,000, I think having a lot of service requests isn't a good thing. So I'm going to keep it as poor. Let's do poor. Now you can also click the pencil button and you have all of these. You can even change the format. If it's greater than 16,000, maybe you can add the decimals if you wish. And you see, you can even put an image if it's greater than 16. So this is extremely powerful. This is an extremely powerful area, conditional styles. I think you need to master conditional styles and style variables. And I think that is probably my fifth of the top things you need to learn. So let's call this red greater than 16,000. Always good to name your conditions so that when you come back later or another developer comes after you, they know what is happening. You see, they don't have to be confused that, hey, why is he putting this here? So this will remind him, and then when you click OK, you see that it's over here. When I click OK, it is now going to show anything with red, anything with above 16,000 is going to show this color. So of course, I could have written it and said if quarter is 1 and service request is greater than 16,000, then make it red, right? That would have been a complex conditional format. But this is a basic one and I can apply it anywhere. Okay, so let's pick up the styles from here, the font, and let's push it. And the quarters is now looking good. All right, so I'm going to save, and I'm going to be using the same report to build the advanced. So this is what I want you to do. If you want to do the same thing that I'm doing, do this. This is a bit of a cheat, but it is a good cheat, okay? It's a bit of a nice little cheat. First, let's make sure that, let's keep the things uniform. I'm going to copy the background. I'm going to select the entire background here, and I'm going to push it. And I want to use the same report for two different reports, the basic crosstab and the advanced crosstab, just like you saw here. You see, I have two pages. So this is how you should do it, because I think I'm going to replace my original with what we are creating now. So go over to your pages, click on page, and then copy this page and paste it. Instead of reinventing the wheel, just copy it. So I'm going to call this basic cross tab. You have to change your settings, so pay attention. It's not going to be, well, it's easy, but just make sure you make this change. Cross tab, and I'm going to call this advanced. Okay, now go over to report, click on report, and go over to view tabs and change it to top left, because I want to see it as such. I want to see, it will make sense. Just wait a little bit. So you see that the moment I change that setting, now it doesn't have that page icon anymore. It changes the icon to this icon. So we have crosstab, basic crosstab, and crosstab advanced. So let's go to the crosstab advanced, And what I'll do is I'll just cut or delete this, and then I'll just change the title to advanced. Okay, now when I run this report, it's going to have 2 pages, but you see, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. You see, this is the basic crosstab. I ran it and it's showing the basic crosstab, and then the crosstab advanced is blank because we've not created it yet. You see the title? So you have your first basic and you have your crosstab. All right. So this is good. In fact, I'm going to use this one to show how to use conditional blacks. I think this will be a great candidate for conditional black and render variable. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to end the basic crosstab, and then when we come back, we are going to continue with the advanced for the next chapter. Thank you.
All right, so that was the basic crosstab creation. Let me see if I have any questions. If not, I'm going to go away. But yes, I'm going to be doing some AWS videos soon because I have started accumulating some AWS certifications, and oh, and it is something that I advise all my students. It's always good to have all of these ranks so that you have a lot of options. All right, thank you very much for watching.